That's an issue. No mic. Hope everybody's having a good day. I've been talking to myself for like 2 minutes now. I guess 1 minute. I hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. Today is Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. This is episode number 44 of Addressing the Issues. For our main story, I guess we have two main stories today. Last night during a town hall, Ilhan Omar was sprayed with a syringe containing a brownish fluid, reportedly leaving a vinegar smell. I'm sure you can already guess what this is. Before she was assaulted with the liquid, she was speaking about the impeachment of Kristi Noem and gave her would-be attacker a quick glance before he got up. After being sprayed with this unknown substance, she intimidatingly walked at her attacker with her fists up. When asked what she was sprayed with, she said, "I don't know," before asking for a napkin, stating, "I need a napkin to know." She then says that we need to continue. This a-hole is not going to get away with it, reassuring her security guard that she was good. When a supporter told her whatever that is smells so bad, she needs to go get checked out, Ilhan Omar responds, "That's what they want." She then continued the event, saying, "Please don't let them have the show." I would ask, what show? It's just a town hall. She then says, this here is the reality that people like this ugly man don't understand. We are Minnesota strong, and we will stay resilient in the face of whatever they might throw at us. It almost sounds scripted. What a weird response to have for somebody who is just sprayed with an unknown substance. Doesn't she know about chemical attacks, especially given where she's from? It seems that Ilhan Omar had her Teddy Roosevelt moment last night. We've all heard about that, where he continued his speech after being shot. Or did Ilhan Omar set it up? Well, her attacker, who is currently being held on third-degree assault charges, Anthony Kazmierzak, has two they-them daughters. So he doesn't look like your typical conservative, given his family life. Anthony has also had his neighbor watch his dogs before the Ilhan Omar town hall, stating to her that he might get arrested. Well, today it was revealed that a hazmat team determined that it was apple cider vinegar that she was sprayed with. The only thing this story was missing is Anthony yelling, "This is MAGA country." Now, why would Ilhan Omar need this press showing that she's a victim? Well, maybe it's because in previous days, the seeming fraud she is personally involved with has come to light, with her spousal business valuations ranging between $1 to $1,000 up to $5 to $25 million in the last year, and $15,000 to $50,000 up to $1 to $5 million in just a year. In just the last year, that's how much her businesses have increased in worth. And according to President Trump, she holds a net worth of $44 million on just a congressional salary, yet allegedly fleeing Somalia during a civil war with nothing, absolutely nothing, before coming to the United States. I'd say that this $44 billion valuation is likely exaggerated, but it's not that far off from the $30 million valuation that others have calculated on her net worth. One of these businesses, Rose Lake Capital, which reported zero income in 2024, now has a valuation of $5 to $25 million. This business is also listed as a Washington, D.C. address, yet according to city records, its registration there has been revoked and formed in Delaware, which canceled its registration for failing to pay taxes of a current total of $1,770. The supposed reason for this is that Rose Lake Capital was transitioned to Rose Lake Incorporated, which Delaware has listed as forfeited for having no registered agent since May 2024, which also owes $403,000 in taxes. Her husband, Tim Minett, and his business partner, William Hallier, have worked together on many business ventures after their career as political operatives, including the E Street Group. During William Hallier's time at E Street Ventures, he had many issues with fraud and swindling investors alongside Tim Minett as his business partner, which is Ilhan Omar's husband. And maybe this is exactly what was going on. Again, and the sympathetic press is being used to divert attention from the fraud that seems to be absolutely encircling Ilhan Omar's life, from fraudulent businesses to a fraudulent state to fraudulent marriages in seemingly many ways. It's kind of weird that she didn't take our husband's last name unless this was another arranged marriage, kind of like the last one to her brother for U.S. citizenship. It seems that she has a lot of issues and she would need some sympathetic press right now. And I believe that staging an attack like this is perfect to get you sympathetic press until everybody figures out that it's staged. At least that's my opinion. But this isn't the only case of a Jussie Smollett-style attack this week. Over the weekend, Democrat Representative Maxwell Frost alleged that he was punched at an event at Sundance Film Festival. He claims the attacker said that he was screaming racist remarks and said that Trump was going to deport him before Frost was punched in the face, and the attacker drunkenly ran off, according to Frost's X account. The attacker allegedly somehow gained unauthorized access to the event. The attacker, Christian Joel Young, was arrested by Park City, Utah police and is being charged with aggravated burglary, assaulting an elected official, and assault. But he was seemingly in the background today of Secretary of State Marco Rubio's hearing on Venezuela with no noticeable facial injuries. So either he's a quick healer, or B, there's some suspicious undertones in this situation as well. Especially how hard it is to find the suspected attacker's mugshot in the Frost case. This was over the weekend. You'd think that they would have this published by now. In my opinion, it looks like the Jussie Smollett playbook is being pushed full throttle this week, and it's a matter of time before I hear about a Subway sandwich again. You know, if you combine these two incidents together, a punch in the face, racial hate, and a chemical attack, you actually get transported to a Subway in Chicago at 2 a.m. That's how similar all this is. But that's where we're at with this. It seems like people are staging hate crimes on themselves this week once again. It's not like people have been caught up in these before, but it seems to be a repetitive playbook used time and time again until the general public realizes that it keeps happening over and over. They're going to keep doing it, and probably some of them will get away with it. But you can't let this apple cider vinegar attack divert your attention away from the fact that Ilhan Omar is encompassed in massive, massive amounts of fraud. But that's where we're at right now with that. I would say keep up. We'll try and keep up and see if these people are released, or if, they tell them, yeah, I was told to do this. I think that'll be the moment, kind of like it was in the Jussie Smollett situation, in which we'll start to see how fraudulent this really is. Because those people, when they were forced to testify, obviously, said that they were paid to do it. And I don't think that this situation is too different, either of them, honestly. In our second main story today, awful nurses, or affluent white liberal nurses, and nurses in general, are ruining their careers at a record pace this week. The first incident is a woman, Lexi Lawler of Florida, who was now a labor and delivery nurse at Baptist Health in Boca Raton. She wished Caroline Levitt a 4th-degree tear during her current pregnancy, and that she wishes that she ripped bow to stern and could never S-word normally again. She was fired from Baptist Health Hospital this week, and today Florida's Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo revoked her nursing license to practice in the state of Florida. A second instance is that of Melinda Rose Cook of VCU Health, instructing nurses to inject ICE agents with succinylchlorine, a temporary paralysis drug, and to spray them with poison ivy water, and to put X-Lax in their drinks while on dates to incapacitate them, and to also put things in the food that they eat. Melinda has since been fired by VCU Health and has been reported to the state under the requirements of Virginia state law. Melinda also seems to work at Duke University Hospital, which should likely do the same as VCU Health. The state should revoke her license. Both states should revoke her license. A third incident involving Michael Moncure of Atrium Health in North Carolina made a post that ICE agents better pray they never end up in a hospital. The nurses won't be kind. Nothing has happened so far for Michael at Atrium Health in North Carolina. However, this veiled threat seemingly goes against his Hippocratic oath, which he swore. And a fourth incident is anti-ICE rioter and labor delivery nurse at Minnesota Birth Center, Freya James Edison. She was arrested during a riot. I'm sure this is applauded in her state, so I have doubts she'll face any punishment. But this is also, happening across the country. These are the people that you hope will treat you, hope will help you heal, get better. You go to the hospital in a weakened state, you don't want to be further weakened, further abused by nurses, medical professionals. But this is also happening in schools. This is happening with teachers telling your children this same rhetoric. And in the case of Chicago, the same school district that would not punish a teacher for mocking the death of Charlie Kirk has placed a teacher on leave for posting "Go ICE" on his personal Facebook page. So let's get this straight. You can indoctrinate students and mock murder, but you cannot support law enforcement and the education system. Our schools are literally indoctrination camps, and our hospitals are filled with medical professionals that want to see people hurt. I can't be the only person that sees a problem with this. You're supposed to be able to go to the hospital to get treated and not worry that the medical professional there is trying to hurt you. You're supposed to be able to go to school to learn math, learn science, English, history, social studies, whatever, not to learn to hate law enforcement. This is honestly completely ass backwards, and yet very few are facing or will face accountability. And those that do face accountability have done absolutely nothing wrong by supporting law enforcement. Instead, they're forcing kids to stage walkouts against ICE, much like the walkout I was forced to do in high school, or be threatened with repercussions, much like my own case. This isn't teaching. This isn't learning. In fact, it prohibits learning. It's indoctrination. It's coercion. And it's taking time from actually learning in the classroom. But all these incidences were from the last week, believe it or not. All of these. All these nurses, all these teachers, except for the one mocking Charlie Kirk's murder, that was months ago. But all these incidences in general are from the last week. People saying that they're going to hurt people in the hospital, people who work in the hospital hoping pain and suffering on others, teachers forcing kids to go on walkouts instead of forcing them to learn math, learn English. That's just 1 week. There's a problem here. Somebody needs to address it. I hope if you have children and you're watching this, you're active at school board meetings, active in knowing what they're being taught in the classroom. Because right now it seems that they're being taught to hate our country, much like the people of Minneapolis do. That's where we're at with this. I just figured that'd be useful information to some people, particularly those with young kids, people who may have medical troubles, health problems. You don't want these people punishing you for your political beliefs, especially hurting you because of them. So, in another story from today, we're all caught up with, I believe, the last week or so. I know I was out for a while, but today, FBI searched an election center in Fulton County, Georgia. This was the Fulton County Election Hub and Operations Center. The reason for this search is not yet known, but Fulton County elections have been a focus of voter fraud concerns since the 2020 election, where overnight Joe Biden soared past Donald Trump. At the time, the site was supposedly evacuated for a water main break, and Republican poll watchers were not allowed back into the building, and the windows of the counting room were subsequently blocked using paper and cardboard. So I think we can draw conclusions as to why the FBI raided Fulton County's election hub today. And it seems like President Trump might be right again. We'll see what documents they get out of there. We'll see if they can find votes that were never counted 6 years ago. I doubt it, but I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, wouldn't be surprised at all. But there's a reason they raided Fulton County's election thing. I think everybody can draw their own conclusion on that, especially how contentious it's been in the previous 6 years. 6 years now. In other news, today, Senate Majority Leader John Thune claimed that the SAVE Act will soon be brought to the floor for a vote. It's about time. And if your elected representative fails the vote for this, do not re-elect them. Show up at the primary and pick literally anybody else's name. Just anybody else on the ballot. This bill has got to be passed. We've got to secure our elections. We've got to ensure election integrity. This is something that's been missing for far too long, especially given the issues in Fulton County, the current issues in multiple states, not just Minnesota, California, New York, allowing illegal aliens to vote in elections, people that do not have citizenship voting. That makes no sense. Are they voting for your country's interest, or are they voting for their own? Seems like probably they won't be voting in your best interest, and that's a huge problem that we face. So hopefully we'll get secured elections. We'll get only people who care about our country voting in them. But if, like I said, if your representative fails the vote for this, send them home. They can find a new job. They can, be a political advisor and own a, what do you call it? What does Ilhan Omar's husband do? An investment firm? They can work in an investment firm. That's probably a better idea than them allowing your elections to be stolen over and over and over again. The first round of founding members of the Board of Peace have been revealed today. I guess that was yesterday. Countries included are Albania, Argentina, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Bahrain, Belarus, that's an interesting one, Bulgaria, Cambodia, Egypt, El Salvador, Hungary, Indonesia, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kosovo, Kuwait, Mongolia, Morocco, Pakistan, Paraguay, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, United States, Uzbekistan, and Vietnam. This board is going to be responsible for delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza, restoring the region with jobs, training, services, investment, and infrastructure. So it looks like the 20-point peace plan is going forward, and the founding members of the Board of Peace will be in charge of ensuring that that continues. I wish them all the best of luck. I think it's well past time that this has happened, and having a coalition of countries that large pushing the two nations that have been at war is, I would say, long overdue, and it'll surely help them into the future. So I'm glad to see that. I'm glad that hopefully the Gaza-Israel deal is wrapped up and that these countries can ensure that peace is instilled in the nations, ensured, ushered, whatever you want to call it. But we have an update from yesterday's story on Iran. An Iranian senior political advisor, Ali Shamkhani, released a post on X reading, "A limited strike is an illusion. Any military action from America or from any origin and at any level will be considered the start of war, and its response will be immediate, all out, and unprecedented, targeting the heart of Tel Aviv and all supporters of the aggressor." So, it seems that Iran also thinks that military intervention is imminent, given the nature of this statement. Like I said yesterday, they're already doing exercises, military exercises in schoolyards. So this looks like it's gonna be something I don't think anybody really wants, at least not in America. Like I said yesterday, we've seen our country strewn out across the world into Afghanistan, into Iraq. And it's never worked out in my lifetime. It always just seems to get worse. And it seems it'll get worse here. In another story, Bananas and Rice girl Nasra Ahmed was arrested by ICE today for assaulting federal officers. I'd say that goes together like bananas and rice. She is one of the 16 Minnesota rioters arrested so far today for allegedly assaulting federal law enforcement. I'm sure there's been more assaults than that. I think you gotta keep arresting them. You can't let them beat you down. You can't lose. You can't lose to an insurrection. You just can't. Then in our final story, New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani claims that New York City is facing an unexpected $10 billion projected deficit this year. Unexpected? I could have expected this when I heard the USSR bankrupted itself trying to push communism on the world. But it seems the government-funded grocery stores will in fact be breadlines like everybody And I mean everybody with the brain predicted. I guess he'll be going to Donald Trump's office again and asking for money. Maybe he'll call him a Nazi dictator again. That was funny. But he'll be back asking for money, asking for funding of his failed policies. So when we're forking over $10 billion to fund free buses, reduced subway fare, government-run grocery stores, you know why? It's because of the failed nature of communism. It's been this way for antiquity. Communism doesn't build countries, it makes them poor and tears them apart. I think we've seen the USSR. We see how it works in Africa. We see how it works in Asia. But yet for some reason we never learn our lesson. We can't say, oh, this doesn't work. We say, oh, well, it just wasn't incorporated the right way this time. And it's never been incorporated the right way. It will never be incorporated the right way. It is not the right way. That's all we've got for today. I'm going to read through the chats and we'll wrap this thing up. So if you guys at all drop a like, chat now if you want me to respond. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Rumble. If you want to do a super chat, like I said, I'll start doing like 5-minute segments, at least, fully addressing your thing. But as of right now, I'm just going to go through these, give quick responses to these chats, and wrap this thing up. If you'd like to subscribe on Rumble, you can do that. I believe it's $5 a month. You can also donate there one time, monthly. You're choosing. I appreciate it either way. I'm most thankful, obviously, as always, for your viewership. Let's see what you guys have to say. So, damn, given where she's from, you went there. Yeah, I did. She's Somalian. They fight civil wars all the time. They know nothing but fight. They know nothing but war. And honestly, they don't know much but poverty. So I guess, cashing out on U.S. taxpayers is a great deal for them. Those nurses are not professionals. They are deranged criminals. I would entirely agree. You take a Hippocratic oath to do no harm, yet you are advocating for harm of your patients, harm of other people. They don't deserve jobs. They shouldn't be working in the medical field. They honestly can't even be trusted to flip burgers at McDonald's. That's the sad truth. If you're talking about poisoning people, you can't even be trusted to work at McDonald's. That's just the way it is. And the craziest part is these are all liberal white people, particularly liberal white women. Affluent as well. Affluent liberal white women are the reason for this. It's unbelievable. Affluent white liberal women, that's the right one. That's the right acronym. But yeah, there's no reason that they need to be staying this. If this is how you feel, keep it inside. Do your job. Like I said, I think everything will change in 4 years. So, just hold it in. A woman can hold it in forever. Unless they're really angry and work in nursing or education. That's just that. These people don't need to be out. They don't need to be working. And if you can't hold these opinions inside, there's no reason you need to be around hurt people seeking help, children seeking an education. You shouldn't be around them. Not at all. But that's modern America, isn't it? That's just modern America. So we'll wrap it up here. Go ahead and drop a like if you haven't already. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Rumble. That's all we've got. So to all my people on the East Coast, I hope you get home safe. To my people further west, I hope you get home safe as well and finish up your workday strong. I'll see you guys again tomorrow at 4:45 Eastern Time with more news. Probably more crazy people, more crazy things. That's just the way it is these days. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow.